Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead, episode number 7. This was a surprise. I got the message yesterday that it was going to come out today and I was like, oh no. I had planned my review day and I was going to edit and film today, but I've had to shift things across. But I promise that my end of season review is coming your way. You've got the full review coming our way. Very exciting stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. I hope you guys are having fun. The season is drawing to a close. It's really weird because I can remember telling you guys that it had just begun and I was very excited. But now we are getting ready to go into the full season. There's a lot of really cool titles coming our way next season. I have 3 animes that I am breaking down on the channel. Very excited. So let's get straight to it. And of course, if you're not subscribed already, please consider doing so because it really does help us out. Let's get straight to it because this week it seemed like we were going into Shizuka's backstory, which is something I was hoping it would do. With the ED promising that they would flip at some point, I was waiting for the flip. Pretty much on cue. This week's episode, even though Tendo does something amazing, it's a big moment for him. Most of it is brought on by Shizuka's influence. And I am wondering if she hadn't been there, whether Tendo would have ever actually broken free of the spiral. The way the show always does it is whenever there is a flashback, they always display the past as being very desaturated with colours. Now, what I love about the first opening scene with the dog in the rain is the pop, the red of the umbrella. Quite a nice little sequence. The girl is helping a dog out, but there's always this red. The red is so vivid. Generally, when it comes to colour theory, red is a colour of danger, the colour of compassion as well. So it's her being compassionate as a child. However, it's going to lead to a dangerous thing because of the way that she's been brought up. She's been raised into status, but it's not all that it's all cracked up to be. I think what the anime is slowly getting at with core themes is that everybody has their own struggles regardless of who they are, but it's just how you deal with them. A lot of people are experiencing being exploited. With Shizuka, that she's been exploited from a very young age by her own parents. We come back to our boy serving and working even harder at his own party, which really sucks. It sucks to see him going back to his old self, going back to the apologising completely, regardless of if it's his fault. It's sad to see him just going back to being this zombie-like state on autopilot. I'm just simply obeying, which seems to be the key theme of the show. The boss hitting on younger women and having very derogatory views on women was just another notch to the why we hate this guy, why this guy is just a pile of trash. I ended up just calling him trash in the end. I just couldn't be bothered to call him boss because boss implies that the guy is in charge, and I hate giving this trash that acknowledgement, so I just called him trash in the end. And I was very happy to see that she was at least holding her alcohol. I was really worried that she'd be a lightweight or something. Thankfully, she's able to hold it. It would seem that the boss figure and the way that he's acting is a trauma trigger for both Tendo and Shizuka. Shizuka's backstory that we're going to really focus in on because of the way that she was raised and the fact that she's not too dissimilar from Tendo, and I'm very glad that in the end, her being influenced by Tendo to break free and actually finally do her own thing is her then giving back to him to finally say, actually no, it's all going to be ending today. No more am I going to be simply just obeying people. But both of them ending up being triggered by a piece of trash like this is just scary because there's people in this man's position. There are people like this piece of trash out there right now, which is why I think the anime itself, I think it hits hard because it's so real. A lot of the stories that we're seeing, they are realistic, and we know from anime, we know from experience, we know from lots of horrifying pieces people coming out is Japan, even in other countries, they have a bit of a problem when it comes to exploiting people and very long hours and people just pulling overtime and work orientated focus, which is what I think the anime is deep diving and having a look at. Now, as soon as I saw a dog becoming involved in the backstory, I knew that I was going to probably cry at some point. Noticed with the colour popping is that the red is always the brightest. You thinking it's this compassion and it's all good and she's hiding it, gonna nurse it back to health, and it does inspire her to go, actually, I'd like to be a doctor. I'd like to help people. I like this notion of helping people. But of course, it's just not to be because we have 2 trash heaps this week. Shizuka's dad is, I hate him. He doesn't see Shizuka as a human being. You will live how I live. It's for your own good, but it's not for your own good. You're doing it because I'm telling you to do so. I want you to be probably my successor. You're going to have a lot of money, but you're going to follow in my footsteps and how I want you to be. But no, you're not going to become a doctor. Really irritating that he would think like that. It's not what do you want to do, what makes you happy. It's no, that's not making you enough money. That's not good enough. I hate that scenario that he puts upon his own daughter because you can see that she really cares for this animal, and instead of being happy for her, the piece of trash decides to get rid of the dog. all of her hard work just ends up for nothing, and the dog ends up losing its own life. All the way through the sequence where we had the boss just shouting 24/7. He's a very loud, obnoxious character. He just shouts constantly. And if he's not shouting, he's then playing that I care about you. That's why I'm not letting you do this. And it's the gaslighting and the constant putting someone and making them feel bad. Oh, you care about me. This is why you're treating me like this. Horrible sequence to go through, because I guess most people watching, if you are, and I really do feel for you as well, and I'll give you a big hug as well, because I'm also on that train. We can all probably think of somebody this man reminds us of, whether it's an old boss, whether it's an old partner, or whether it's just a parent. For me, it's two of the above. The anime's making me feel things, and I don't like that, but it's also doing it in a way that I think is really important because of the way that it's being shown, the way that we end up having that break at the end. It's really, really nice, portraying it quite nicely with the contrast of the happy, cheerful music. And what I started noticing about the happy, cheerful music was it felt like it was on repeat. It was like we're going round and round. It was the same verse over and over, just showing you that we're just repeating the same thing. We're just obeying. We're going in circles. We're just doing what we're told, and it's over and over. Every single day is the same. Very, very clever. It's a small little tiny thing that most people probably won't recognize or pick up on, but I love music. I love the way that animes can portray subplot via the use of their music. This show does have some very nice moments where it will do stuff like this, but you can see sadly as Tendo's being yelled at more and more, he's just become disillusioned, he's become brainwashed, then doubts himself. He doesn't believe that he can go out there. He doesn't believe that he's good enough and he can actually survive. Before you came in, you were so excited to go see your parents, and you knew you could. You knew there was a chance that you could, and it didn't really matter if you didn't get there because you were living your life in your own way. But that is also showing you the power that somebody like this piece of trash can have in anybody's life. It'll make you start questioning whether you're capable or good enough. You are good enough. You don't need to have this negativity in your life preventing you from seeing it. You just need to have the right aid, the right support. Like Shizuka, when Shizuka starts to tell Tendo exactly what it should be. Like, this is what you wanted to do. I also like the fact that she was smiling when she was reading the list of what he actually wanted to do, and then obviously writing the 37th one down. I was so happy that it's there because it was something I really hoped that he would do at some point in the plot. Big highlight for the episode, I think, was the moment when Shizuka stood up, because the moment where she started to talk and shout and actually put it how it should have been. And I'm done with listening to people. I'm done with being told what to do. I'm done with just simply obeying. You knew that it was coming from experience. You knew that those words were coming from a place of hurt, coming from a place of being fed up, being pushed around. You knew that it was finally her talking from her heart. I thought those words had a lot of weight to them, and it was such a nice moment because it also brings him back to his senses. It brings him back to realize, actually, this is what I didn't want to happen. This is the one thing I didn't want to happen in that big bucket list of things to do before I turn into a zombie. You're back to working again, and it's the apocalypse. You really shouldn't just be working, living your life before it's cut short. Number 37 was perhaps the best thing on that list, and I'm so happy that Shizuka is able to connect to somebody who she fully understands. I know what you're going through. I know what it's like to be like this. You can break free. You don't have to listen. And it's such a nice moment to get him back on side. The boss got off lightly. I do think the guy got off lightly hearing the words from Tendo. I don't think Tendo went as hard as he could have done, but again, he's not really that kind of character. But it would have been interesting just to actually say, this is how you made me feel for all those years. The fact that you almost led me to self-deletion. Maybe just being a little bit more real with the guy might have just maybe struck a chord, but it doesn't really feel like the piece of trash actually learns anything at the end. Even when he's all on his own, it doesn't really feel like he's learned anything. As soon as Tendo starts to stand up for himself, that is when the trash loses, because he can no longer control him. He can no longer find an edge. As soon as he realizes, I'm not good enough, okay, fine, I'm sorry about that. Oh, I haven't done enough to pay you back. Sorry about that. I absolutely love the way that he ends up flipping it on its head. If you're not good enough and you're never going to be good enough for a man like this, well, it sucks. It sucks to be you. I'm sorry that I'm not good enough, but I'm out. It's a really powerful moment, and then the moment where the zombies finally break in from the inevitable happening. Also another fantastic moment to see Tendo not giving up. Tendo actually standing very tall, telling people what to do, being a very strong leader, being more of a leader than that piece of trash has ever been in his life. Really, really nice moment because he shows that he cares. He even helps the man who almost led him to self-deletion. It shows that he's just a better human at the end of the day, because you treated me like absolute crap, but I'm not just gonna let you die. Where if it had been the other way around, if the zombies are broken in and the boss was on the car, he would have just left Tendo to be eaten alive. Shizuka actually seeming relieved when he's there, and she's happy that he did something reckless, but I'm relieved that you're back. It's a nice moment because I do feel like the trio have come out of this even stronger. I'm very glad that all three of them are finally back on the road as well, because I really do want them to start heading out. I want to know who the fourth character is, because I don't think we've actually run into them yet. Hopefully it happens in this season, because she looks interesting. She's wearing armor, so I want to see what kind of quirkiness she is and why she's running around in samurai armor. But it was a really good episode, and I'm glad that, again, we've seen some deep dives into some real topics. We've actually stood up to those real topics and addressed them and seen how toxic it can be to allow this behavior to continue. I am very happy with the way it's going. The show is just suffering from massive delays. Hopefully we'll get another episode on Sunday, and it's just bumping itself back in. So at this rate, we might actually catch up with the schedule again. So we'll have to go fingers crossed, because I do really enjoy the show. It would be good to at least be able to review it along with the other stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are looking after yourselves, and I really do hope that if you are feeling down or you got somebody like this in your life, that you can at least remember that you are a capable person. I believe in you. If nobody else believes in you, Clockwork Noodles believes in you, because I think you are amazing. Often enough, I find I'm talking to you guys that you guys are up to some really cool things. Hopefully you've got some cool things going on. So look after yourselves, guys, and I'll see you guys again, hopefully on Sunday. Bye bye, guys.